Manx Radio.
The Mannin Line with Andy Wint.
Pastor Mai, good afternoon. Welcome to Mannin Line today. It's Tuesday. It feels like a Monday. That was because yesterday was a bank holiday. It was Tynwald Day yesterday. Had lots of people on the field yesterday. And the weather was absolutely lovely. Always that great combination of colours. A very blue sky, the green of the hills, and the red Manx flag. Lovely. And a question from Anthony, who said, does anybody know why the Tynwald ceremony isn't actually held on the 5th of July? Why is it not held on the 5th of July? We'll try and find out for you. Many other countries have their national day on the actual day, but ours seems to move around. If it's at a weekend, it happens on a Monday. Thank you, Anthony. We'll pass that through to people who will find the information out for you. That's why. A note in from Steve. This is regarding hospitality last week. Jed Power was on talking about hospitality. A takeaway lunch in town sets you back a tenner. If you went for a pub lunch and a pint, you're looking at £20 to £25. So working from home versus working in the office is not the issue. It's just not affordable for lots of people. And even those in the office bring their own lunch rather than paying hundreds per month to eat out what they can't afford, says Steve. Thank you. That was Steve's opinion. Jed Power was saying that there are lots of people who work for government who are still working from home, and presumably this is a legacy of COVID. Now, I don't know what your view is on this, but do you think if you're hired to work from an office, should you be working in that office or should you be sitting at home? Lots of people got used to working from home during COVID. But I wonder what you think about this. Does that engender a lack of team spirit if you're working from home? I got a note in from Denise on this same subject actually last week, who said when Jed was talking about people working from home, I know somebody who works from home and does all the Zoom stuff and everything, sitting in pyjama bottoms with a collar and tie on top. Well, let's say they're trainers, shall we? Trainer bottoms. Well, interesting, isn't it? And that was what was thrown up by COVID, working from home. The technology's there, but if you work from home, do you actually put in as much effort as were you in the office? You obviously don't get to know your colleagues or any new colleagues or any office skeet. Maybe that's a good thing. But any thoughts on it? And Jed's point was that lots of people who work in town obviously then go and buy a sandwich or two. Steve thinks it's unaffordable. Well, it depends how much you earn, of course, doesn't it? That's the point. But on a broader note, if you're hired to work in an office just because COVID happened, and it was years ago now, shouldn't you be back in the office? Anyway, any thoughts on that? Text, email, call and WhatsApp. Let's get to the phones. And Peter's first with us today. Hello, Peter.
Oh, hello, Andy. It's Peter Murcott here. Now, I didn't ring about the question about Tynwald Day. I've just heard you mentioning that. Yeah. I can probably answer that one for you.
Okay.
Yeah, it was decided by... Now, I'm just speaking from memory here. I think the act was called the Greenwich Mean Time, etc. Act, rather strange name. And I think it was 1883. And what the Act said was, it was when the Isle of Man officially accepted Greenwich Mean Time. It hadn't accepted it until that date. And at the same time, it dealt with the question of the Tynwald Day ceremony. And under the Act, where July the 5th falls on a Sunday, then the actual ceremony will take place the following day. And that's what the Act says.
Okay. So do we know the actual reason? But why would they if our date is the 5th of July, why would they change it? Why would they put it on a Monday?
The Act doesn't actually say doesn't explain. It just, as far as I know, I remember reading it because I did a paper about the whole question about the calendar and so on.
Right.
And that was part of it that arose. To my memory, and I'd obviously have to go back and look at it again, I don't think it gave a reason. I just think it was a general act about time. It included that in it, but I don't think it gave a reason.
Okay.
Why they said it would be Monday.
Okay.
Whether it was to do with the fact of people going to church, possibly it was, but it doesn't say.
Okay.
To my knowledge, I can always, actually, you probably inspired me. When I got a moment, I'll go and look it up again. Haven't read it for some years, but I do know that was the legislation that actually laid down when Tynwald Day will be held on a Monday.
Okay.
So that's rather strange you should mention that. I hadn't rung about that at all, but I caught it. I'd rung about a document that probably people haven't heard of, and I hadn't until recently. It's got a long title. It's called the Sovereign Grant Reserve Annual Report and Accounts 2025 to 2026. Probably not the most interesting reading for most people. It deals with the grant to the monarchy, which actually was established in its present form by the Sovereign Grant Act 2011. It had in it just a small section about what it called the King's official duties. Now, in previous years, it has, so I understand, and I have to say I've never read the document before this year, but I understand that in previous years, it would describe his official duties as His Majesty is Supreme Governor of the Church of England and the Defender of the Faith. Now, that name, you don't see it on Manx currency, but you do see it on British coinage where it says FIDDEF, which is Fidei Defensor, or sometimes FD, and it's an ancient title, and it goes back to 1521, and the present legislation that governs it is an act of 1543 that has never been changed. Now, given the fact that that is the King's position, it now said this year, His Majesty is Supreme Governor of the Church of England and protects the space for faith within the multifaith nation. Now, I don't quite know whether that one's been thought through. I'm not aware that the Act of 1543 has been amended. I would venture to say 99% certain that it hasn't. And so you've got a complete dichotomy there, because the governor of the church, the supreme governor of a church, would not naturally be the defender of space for faith in a multi-faith Britain. I mean, there's all the queries there. I don't know how you justify this new phrase called multi-faith Britain. I'm far from clear what a person would do to defend space for faith. That is extremely vague, whereas the defender of the faith is far clearer. So what I've done, I've written a little booklet on this, because I doubt whether anybody is really acquainted with the history of the defender of the faith. And I've expanded it, actually, to cover the point that's just here. And as I've said before, if anybody would like a copy and is extremely interested in this,
Peter, where do you think the tension lies within that? I mean, what's the problem?
Well, the problem is that the two just don't go together. I mean, if you are the Supreme Governor of the Church of England, then you're head of a church which is primarily and completely Christian. Now, why would you suddenly drop the arms and legs of what that means, that you are the defender of the faith? I mean, it's gone on for 500 years. Why has it suddenly been dropped this year?
Why do you think there's obviously been some sort of impetus for that to happen?
Well, His Majesty did say back in 1994, I believe, in television interview, that he wanted to be defender of faith. Now, that would require an Act of Parliament if he was going to be that, because his title is actually established in a statute. I don't think any Act of Parliament, in fact I know that no Act of Parliament was ever passed, and when he became king he automatically inherited that title, as all monarchs have had. And so it's far from clear where this has come from, because it isn't a title that he has. He hasn't got a title of protecting space for faith. And it's extraordinarily vague as to what it... I haven't a clue what it means.
Okay. Well, you say this pamphlet's available. How do people get hold of it?
Me?
Yeah.
Or just call and see me. Give me a ring, 611-483. I haven't actually written a pamphlet. It's actually... It's a booklet of 20 pages which takes people through the whole history of how it happened, and then makes some comment on this new description, which really is at variance with an Act of Parliament. And it just really raises the question of, well, where's this come from?
Okay.
And what does it mean?
All right.
Because it isn't clear.
Appreciate it. Peter, thank you for that.
Okay, thank you. Good. Bye-bye.
16 minutes past 12. Peter's telephone number again is 611-483 if you'd like to avail yourself of more information. And Eric's on now. Hi, Eric.
Hi, Andy. I've got 2 or 3 things I want to talk about. We start with the good stuff. Skateboard event in Ramsey on the mountain in Ramsey all weekend was absolutely brilliant. It was brilliant. The village he set up in the old Albert Road School car park, and they had food, drink, all local. A large screen where you could watch the events coming down the mountain, and basically, it was just so good, and the place Sunday afternoon was really chocker with people in there. So for once, it's something that we've got right, and I hope that they come back again another year.
Well, I mean, as you say, there was great reaction online about it. Of course, last year it was at Faulty Will. It was going down there, which is more of a hill. Yeah. But you reckon this is better? It was, they closed from the bungalow to Barrule Park, didn't they? The race was from just above the 26 milestone down into Ramsey, just at Leaney Road there. But they had the village, there must have been 6 large marquees, big screen TV, and you could see everything you wanted to see from there. Like you say, you get food and drink. A really well-run thing, and it could get bigger, I think, if the Lord of Mann wanted to take part in that. It was brilliant. It certainly made Ramsey busier on Sunday than what it is any other day. Yeah. Did you? I mean, you watched the races. Which one? I mean, because there was the skateboard, there was the luge one there where they come down on their back. That's phenomenal. Yeah. That thing, crikey. Yeah, it was good. There's a lot of it on Facebook now. If you go on and look for it, and you can see it. But it really was. I went up to the hairpin and watched them there for a bit. But then on the Sunday afternoon, I spent most of it watching it on the big screen. You get to see a lot more. Yeah. But it really was good. And it definitely should come back again. I think that's the ideal place. When it was in Faulty Will, you didn't have anywhere there, where you had like the village that was here to go with it. And that makes it, when you go in there and watch it and have a drink and get something to eat, it was a really well-run event. Okay, all right. Well, happy to pass that along. Well done to everybody involved in that. Well, now I've got the bad bits. Oh, I see. That was the bouquet, now the brickbat. Yeah. I went out to Bride on Saturday to a meeting that they're having about the civic community site. Yeah. And Bride refusing to pay. Well, the first thing, I went there to the hall, no disabled access whatsoever. So I tripped on the way in and injured my finger. How can a public building still have no disabled access into it? They're holding meetings in there, and you can't get in properly. How is that
even able to be done in this day and age, and they have not updated that all.
Well, if anybody knows from Bride, we'd like to hear.
Yeah, well, the next bit then, the even worse bit. When I got into the meeting, into the hall, I was promptly kicked out again. I wasn't allowed to be in there. I asked them would they answer my questions, and they said no, they wouldn't answer my questions. And then they said it is only for Bride residents only. So I asked them, is it not better if you're wanting to put this in the public and your reasons for not wanting to pay for the civic amenity site, wouldn't it be better if you allowed people to listen to it? Because they're not allowing people to listen to it. And the majority of people that would go to that meeting, well, obviously they're all going to be with Bride because they're keeping all the rates down. And this argument that they've got, that that you've got the domestic rate, and then you've got the business rate. 73% of Bride's rates money comes from sandpit, right? And they are now saying that their rate should not include the sandpit. Well, what happens in Douglas and Braddon? The places up the business park, they must be paying business rates. You don't see them being taken out of it. They ruined. Bride ruined the last board. That's what ruined it when they refused to pay their share. And they're now being asked to pay now £111,000, which is their share of it. Ramsey Commissioners, or Ramsey Town, they pay 51% of the running costs of the civic amenity site. Now, you've got, I think it's seven boards. 6 have all agreed to what they're going to pay, and it's all done the rates. It's all perfectly right. Like I say, Ramsey is the biggest payer to it. But Bride, when they're being asked for £111,000, they just say, no, we're not going to pay it. So what's going to happen? There's supposed to be, I think it's in this month's Tynwald, where they're going to formalise a new board to run the site. But how can they? And I know other commissioners are saying no paper should be signed to agree that there's a new board set to run that until the DOI get the money out of Bride commissioners. Because why should everybody else be paying to run that, and Bride commissioners don't want to pay a penny?
Is that, well, do you say they don't want to pay anything, or they don't want to pay what they consider as their fair share?
Well, what you've got to remember, I didn't get in the meeting, but as far as I'm aware, their bill is £111,000, and they are going to refuse to pay it. And you say that they will pay their fair share. Their fair share is £111,000. That is how it's worked out on the houses, the rateable values, whatever business is in there. Now, Bride has a big business there, and like you say, it's paying 73% of Bride rates. They get all that money, but they don't want to put it out. And they should go along with everybody else. Ramsey isn't complaining. They're paying 51%. So how can you argue that Ramsey paying 51%, but Bride don't want to pay it? So okay, then you just don't bother paying. All the other places will pay for you. I'm afraid that's not the way it works, and I hope that the MHKs are hearing this. And when this comes up in Tynwald to agree to this new board, no board should be agreed until somebody sorts out Bride, and the ones who need to sort it out is the DOI.
Okay. All right, Eric, we appreciate that. We'll ask the question of Bride and see how far we get.
Well, I don't think you get very far, because I didn't.
Okay. Thanks, Eric.
When you're asking a question, watch you don't fall over.
All right. Thanks for calling today. The lack of detail about proposals for the offshore wind farm led to a void of information being filled with misinformation. So say the Energy and Sustainability Group Isle of Man. They're holding an information event later this week about the Moor Vannin project and other renewable options for the Isle of Man. It's as an examination process into Ørsted's plans nears its conclusion. Now, chair of the ESC, the Energy and Sustainability Group, is Ralph Peake, of course, former MHK, and the group's research director is Dr. Dave Quirk. Ralph Peake and Dave Quirk explain.
Many people are basing their decision on what information is available, and there's been a lack of information really available for people to make an informed decision, and that's the great shame really. We seem to have had this project spoken about. I mean, you'll remember many years ago that this project started, and there wasn't the intensity discussions around it at the time, but certainly now with the lack of information, it's really opened up that void, really, a void of information, and people are then getting fearful and making decisions on misinformation that there is around, and that's the great shame, really. So we're just trying to address that really and be available for people to try and find some correct information from ourselves and other sources.
So who should be leading on this debate? I mean, where should that information be coming from? Well,
it can come from many sources, but the government is involved in this, and you would hope that there would be more information easily digestible for the public to understand and make their own minds up then, and try and find a way of seeking answers to some of their questions.
That was Ralph Peake, and you can hear more from Ralph Peake and Dave Quirk in the latest edition of Perspective. It's available as a podcast at manxradio.com. So what do you think about this? The lack of details about this offshore wind farm basically means that what they say is that misinformation has fallen into the hole. And whose fault is this? And what should be done about it?
Many people are struggling. You can help by volunteering or making a donation to Isle of Man Food Bank, whether it be food or essential items or financial support. Please call 646 999, brought to you by Descon Office Interiors.
Ready to explore the Isle of Man? Discover ancient castles, uncover hidden treasures, climb the world's largest working water wheel, and learn more at our remarkable museums across the Isle of Man. Go further, look closer, and discover the stories of your island home. Manx National Heritage Sites, now open every day. Plan your visit and start exploring today at manxnationalheritage.im.
This is your official invitation to take a stroll around Ramsey Garden Centre and take in the extensive ranges available for your home, no matter the size. Grow smarter, greener, season after season with Ramsey Garden Centre.
Ramsey Care Products, proudly part of the community at St Paul's Square in the north of the island, supplying affordable, quality disability and mobility products. Call 627 177. Ramsey Care Products, affordable mobility solutions for you.
Right now at Manx Telecom, we're giving you up to £200 to spend in store when you buy a handset and Go Roam Ultra mobile plan over 24 or 36 months. That's £200 on us as a thank you for choosing us. This is a limited time offer. Visit mt.im/GoRoam for details, terms and conditions.
Whether starting a new business or building up your existing business, come and talk to the accounts and tax experts at Nicola Bowker & Co. With their holistic approach to business advice, Nicola Bowker & Co. will work with you to achieve success. For accounts that work, call 861 271.
The countdown to the next Isle of Man general election is officially on. On Thursday, the 24th of September, you'll get to have your say on who you think should represent you in the House of Keys. And here at Manx Radio, we've got all the information you need to help you make your choice. We'll be playing out our full interviews with all the candidates each weekday from just before 11:30, and they'll also be available as podcasts shortly after broadcast, and you can watch them on our YouTube channel. And don't forget, for everything you need to know about the upcoming election, you can head to our dedicated website. Just go to manxradio.com to find out more.
The Mannin Line with Andy Wint.
Text, email, call and WhatsApp. I've got an announcement to make, by the way. A week today, I'm going to prison. On Tuesday, the 14th of July, I say when I'm going to prison. Mannin Line's going to prison. We're going to the Isle of Man prison, chatting to people who run it and work there. And the new prison's nearly 20 years old, 18 odd years old, when it moved from Victoria. I'd have to say that I think it was 25 years ago I did a Mannin Line from the old Victoria Road prison. That's a grim place. Anyway, we're going to the new prison a week today. So how many prisoners does it hold? I mean, how much do you actually know about the prison? There's lots of skeet about the prison, but how much do you actually know? What vocational training and education is available there to actually put people back to work if they come out of prison? How does the probation service work? Is it true that the prison's full? Are they going to get a new wing? What's happening there? And what are the conditions like for inmates, but also for the staff who work there? Like it or not, the prison's part of our life. It's part of our island life. It's a chance to find out exactly how the Isle of Man prison works and fits into the Isle of Man. A week today, Mannin Line goes to jail. Here's Dewan now. Hi, Dewan.
If they don't let you out, Andy, we'll come and rescue you.
Well, thank you.
As long as you pay for the fuel out to Derby. Did you have your skateboard out this weekend?
I didn't make it to Ramsey for the skateboard.
No, I think with your aerodynamics, I could just see you coming into Ramsey on a skateboard.
Well, that would be good. Oh, yeah.
Moving the sand on Douglas Promenade. Who'd have ever thought of that?
Well, yes, actually, you're quite right. I got an email about that. Somebody said, a lady sent me an email about it. There's a where is it? There's a digger on the sand, isn't there?
Yes, I believe so. Isn't that novel? I've never thought of that in all my life, Andy. I don't know where they're going to put it, but it's a good start, isn't it? Speedy recovery to the DOI Minister as well, Tim Krukall. I believe he's had a little bit of a fall. I'm sure that pothole will get filled in quick. How did you think of Timbled, Andy? I've seen you down there. You were dressed as eloquently as normal.
It was. They changed the timetable around, so we were all a bit at 6s and 7s. But John Moss held it together for the broadcast. But it was okay. As always, I have to say, it's a great unspeakable. Not as many goers used to go, and it all livens up when everybody starts coming for the afternoon bit. What did you think?
Yeah, there was a delay. I think it was a medical emergency at the start. So
that's right, and Dr. Allinson was legging it across to deal with it all.
Excellent. Yes, there is less that watches the proceedings and the ceremony now. The Fairfield was full. I'm very, very busy for the whole length of the day.
They changed the layout. Were there as many stalls? Because there seemed to be more room to move around.
Yeah, I think the health and safety guys have been in there, I think, and reorganised the stalls probably. There was a few there, but there seemed to be less stalls, but definitely a lot of people. And obviously St John's is when the weather's great, it comes alive. But yeah, there's less people watching the proceedings now. I don't know where you put that down to. Is that because there's less Manx people here now that are interested in that, or is it just apathy with government that they're not interested?
Again, Joan, that's the great unspoken. There are, the actual proportion of true Manx people is going down and down and down, and obviously over the past, and immigration is part of our way of life. It's been going on for years, back to the 1960s when the population went down to 40,000. Everybody was leaving the place. So by that definition, more and more people are coming in from outside the Isle of Man. Now, how long it takes people to pick up the Isle of Man and understand the ways of the Isle of Man, well, who knows, because media is all pervasive. All the television stations come from across. So who knows, Dewan? What do you think?
I think, on an outside view, whoever's organising that from government, I think have done a good job to reinvent it. I think the original ceremony used to be done and packed up and finished by 1 o'clock, and they've made it into a family day and a cultural day, which is great. They've now got the global village and, of course, the Viking village as well, which I think John Shakespeare has a lot to do with. And the whole event, I think, has been made into a really good cultural day. And the Cayley at night time, there must have been over 100 people dancing in the Cayley at night time, which is fantastic, with Greg Jochen and his band doing the traditional Manx music. Yeah. And it's great to see so many people getting involved with that. I mean, absolutely fantastic. And, of course, the pipe band at the end of the night. So they've made it into a great Manx cultural event, that's absolutely great to see. Just dropping a little bit onto what Peter was saying there, I've been watching this story unfold for the last few weeks about the Defender of the Faiths. And this is interesting where this is leading to, and again connected with the Tymbal ceremony and the church proceedings, etc., and the base of Christian faith. I'm just wondering, with the rise of extremist Islam, how we're going to cope in the future, because people seem to be less interested in their faith in Christianity, and Christianity seems to be getting a lot of knocking. And I know there's going to be some comeback on the concepts of Christianity, but I'm not seeing a lot of other faiths depreciating as much as what ours is.
Well, the thing is, on the Isle of Man, the Roman Catholic faith is very healthy.
It is, and that's because of our influx of Filipino people.
And Polish as well.
And Polish, yeah, so that's kept the church alive. It's interesting. I mean, I think the mosque here now has got about 400 people that use the mosque here now, I believe, in Finch Road, from my little investigation. So, interesting concepts. But yeah, I've been watching that, as Peter has, I'm sure, on where that's heading.
But I mean, it's a matter of fact, though, Duran, that church attendances have done nothing but go down for the past 50 years. They're going down and down and down. So if the Anglican faith is dwindling because of a lack of attendance, that's nobody's fault but the Anglican faith, surely.
I absolutely, totally agree with you. And with the mention of Islam, you see now the difference in the UK, where lots of mayors and everything are getting elected on Muslim mayors and Islamic, because they do get in and they do vote, and they're made to vote. That's their principle of getting their people in. So it's a very, very powerful religion. And growing very, very extremely. So, as you say, Andy, it's down to the people to, choose what kind of lifestyle that they actually want, and where to put their beliefs.
Well, and that's the point. I mean, there are evangelical faiths on the Isle of Man. There are several churches. So if they motivate their congregation, then that's what their job is to do. And if portions of other faiths are dwindling, then they can't blame other people for that. And the fact is, the Islamic faith is, and you and I have been around long enough, haven't you, Muslims in the 1970s who were the gentlest of people. When people like Cat Stevens converted to Islam, it was not a contentious matter at all.
No, it's the extremes, I think, is the problem on all sides. It's the extremities, and I think that's where we are at the moment. The thing sways from left to right in such a big way, and we need that nice middle ground, as we haven't got that at the moment, which is it's very concerning where the future is going with it. But my thing on churches is I think it's a place where people could congregate. People felt the energy from a church, and regardless of what you think about religion in so much as Jesus, but just in a place where people could congregate, people could talk, and they came out there with a resonance from a church. And you see now with the splitting of a lot of broken families and mental health issues now from all sorts of things, people need that there solidarity and grouping together. I think what's showing in mental health issues very much so. It'd be interesting to see what happens at the prison when you report back from that, Andy, because I'm hearing that there's the staff up there are very under pressure, and things are not boding too well up there with the camaraderie. So
we'll see.
Be interested in what we report.
Yeah, we will see. Yeah. I mean, the fact is that the prison is part of our lives, and the thing is, if you get away from the fact, then some people obviously say, well, somebody's in prison, lock them up and throw away the key. Well, we all swim in the same water, Duran. And And the fact is, most of us, it's tempting to think that we'll never, ever cross the law. But something was mentioned to me recently. You could be driving a vehicle, and suddenly look down and change the radio station or the CD or drop a packet of chewing gum or something, look up, and you could kill somebody. And that could get you in jail. So you never know what's around the corner. So it'll be interesting to find out more. Go with an open mind. We'll put the microphone around and see what turns up.
No, that'll be interesting. Look forward to hearing that.
Okay.
Cheers, Andy. Take care.
Good to hear from you. Thanks for being with us today. It's 20 to 1 now. Eddie's on now. Hello, Eddie.
Hi, Andy. All right, mate?
Very well.
Good. Nice to hear. There's a meeting coming up with, is it Ralph Pierce, is it?
Ralph Peake.
Peake, that's it.
Yeah, Ralph Peake.
I've heard the name before because I attended the meeting that they had at St. Thomas's, Friends of the Earth.
Right.
Now, he's involved in a company. There's three of them in the company. One of them was mentioned on the news, and the other one is the Weatherman. They've formed a company. I'd love to know how that company makes any money, because it's more of an advisory thing, isn't it?
This is the Energy and Sustainability Group.
Yeah. When I'm going away tomorrow for a fortnight, so I won't be able to attend his meeting, but I could throw 34 questions at him. But it didn't seem to. I think I commented about the meeting being very naive about the realism of what is actually going on. He's mentioned this word misinformation, and for the past 3 years we've all been studying it up this end of the island because of what's going on or proposed, and we find the only misinformation, the public are all listeners. They're not the people who are dishing out all the misinformation. That's coming from the MUA, companies like his, Ørsted, so on. They're not coming from the general public. So why on earth he's suggesting that we're all getting a lot of misinformation? It's got to be coming from them. It's not us. We're not the ones who are giving it out. I've got 34 reasons, as you say. If I was at this meeting next week, I would say to him, if you're in favour of this, that and the other, like you pointed out at the St. Thomas's meeting, what about the lake that's being formed, the toxic lake at China and Mongolian border? What would he come up with that? Is that okay? Of course it's not. We know all these things out here. We're doing our own homework. And what I want to point out is that they're the ones who are giving out all the misinformation. It is not us, it's them. And I do wish I was here for the meeting. I might even listen when I'm down on holiday. I don't know, the outcome of it on your radio. But if you're around, you ask him a few questions about being green.
Okay.
All the 9,000 people, I believe it is, or over 9,000 people that are against the wind turbine. Ask him what would happen if one of them blades broke off, and like in America, it smashed up against the rocks, and they had to close all the beaches because of the pollution it caused. They don't give this sort of information out. These are things that we found out for ourselves, and they're facts. They're not misinformation. The misinformation is this. They tell us, Ørsted tell us that we're going to have the windiest place in the world for turbines, better than Orkneys. We're going to have cheap electricity. Nowhere in the world has wind turbines given us cheap electricity. Let's have some truth out of them all instead of all this. I hope somebody records this meeting and I can really have a good listen to it, Andy, when I get back. All right, mate.
All right, have a good time on holiday. Thanks for calling.
Pleasure.
Cheers now. 16 minutes before 1. Well, you heard Ralph Peake. They were on Perspective on Sunday. You can hear that programme anytime you want. You can go back and listen to it online at manxradio.com. It's this coming week. It's on Friday at the Laxey Working Men's Institute, 4 till 9:30. There's a presentation scheduled for 7 o'clock. It's the Energy Sustainability Centre Isle of Man holding a public information event on Friday to discuss the More Mannin, that's the offshore one, proposals and other renewable energy options. So it's at Laxey Working Men's Institute, 4 till 9:30 on Friday, with that presentation at 7 o'clock. It comes ahead of the final hearings as part of the examination process, which gets underway later this month. Ørsted's 87 turbine plans have been subject of a petition by a campaign group voicing concerns about the project, which is about to be presented, and obviously they were there at Tynwald Day yesterday. We've asked the government, we've asked Ørsted to respond to this, and when they respond, we'll pass the message on.
Whatever your business, whatever its size, you can always rely on the island's leading fuel and oil supplier to keep you moving. Ellen Vannin Fuels, powering the island and powering industry. Call us on 844 000.
Welcome to the Miller Chaps of Ramsey Summer Sale, where you'll find fabulous reductions throughout the store, from beds and flooring to sofas, cane furniture and accessories, rugs, pictures, mirrors and even wallpapers. Plus, the friendly Miller Chaps team are here as always with a warm welcome and expert help and advice when needed. Don't miss the Miller Chaps of Ramsey Summer Sale, now on.
Creating a home where you'll love to be. Miller Chaps of Ramsey.
Make Athol Airport Parking your wash and go partner when parking at the airport. With no advance booking required, simply park your car in the designated Athol rental return spaces right next to the terminal. Hand your key to our valet desk, and while you're away, we'll wash your vehicle and return your car to the terminal for when you get back. For prices and our full range of services, including comprehensive valeting menu, just search Athol Airport Parking online. Athol Airport Parking, part of the trusted Athol Garage Group.
Charity of the Week, brought to you by Kell Properties.
Relay Isle of Man works with Cancer Research UK to save lives through research into prevention, detection and treatment of cancer. Relay for Life Isle of Man unites friends, families and colleagues in a 24-hour fundraising relay, and you can join with the team, volunteer, donate or sponsor. Search Relay for Life Isle of Man. Every contribution helps save lives.
This advert is brought to you by Kell Properties.
The Granite Centre in Laxey. For complete kitchen renovations, replacement worktops, and with over 35 distinct styles and finishes, there's a Kuka instant boiling water tap for every home. Call 612287 or visit thelaxeykitchenco.im today.
Tonight on Manx Radio at 6:30, join Kiri Kermode and myself, Simon Clark, for Countryside.
This week I took a trip up to Narradale above Sulby to catch up with dairy farmer Carl Huxon from Ayland Dairy to talk about his recent awards at the Royal Highland Show.
And I went along to Derby Church to have a look at their current exhibition that's on display called Catching the Boat. And I also had a look at a vast display of old postcards that were revealed to the public, many of them for the first time.
That's all in Countryside tonight here on Manx Radio at 6:30. And don't forget, you can download and subscribe to the podcast for free at manxradio.com.
The Mannin Line with Andy Wint.
13 minutes before 1, Tuesday afternoon, live from Douglas in the Isle of Man. Hello to the captain and the crew and all the passengers of the Seabourn Venture from the Seabourn Cruise Line, who are currently in Douglas Harbour at the moment, visiting the Isle of Man. I hope you have a nice time. A disappointed taxpayer, texter 322, says, I'm just texting to vent about the beach. I've just seen a big digger and a wagon ready to move the built-up stone and sand behind the Berlin Wall on the promenade. Guess where they're going to move it? Further down the beach. What's the sense in this, and why not just take it away? Why didn't they move it before building the monstrosity of that wall to see if it solved the problem? Who gets paid for these decisions? They were told to try this by many cleverer people than me before they wasted our money on their ridiculous project. This is 322's words. I despair walking along that prom daily. The car parking spaces were taken away to make a grass verge, to make the prom narrower, and no horse tram going to the sea terminal. They're turning our lovely Isle of Man into a joke. It's frustrating that they hemorrhage our money and get paid for it. Disappointed taxpayer. That's 322. And apparently the wall's going to go even further down, isn't it, to protect what will be when the children's playground happens. It's a Mr. Moore with no Christian name. Hello, Mr. Moore.
Yes,
Good afternoon, Andy. I want to follow up to the gentleman you've just been speaking to about the Isle of Man energy and sustainability people who are having a meeting this Friday in Laxey. Now, the thing I'm concerned about is that they're talking about a lot of misinformation leading to confusion. And I heard Mr. Peake being interviewed by Phil Gaughan. And Phil Gaughan said, well, where should you go for this information? And the answer he gave was very waffly. He said many sources and this, that and the other. But what he actually meant was, you've got to come to us. We are the only source of reliable information. And so anything which doesn't fit in with the narrative of the wind farm people is misinformation if it doesn't fit in with what they like. Now, that's not what I'm particularly concerned about. What does concern me is that they gave a presentation on Friday last week to 100 of the island's sixth formers at Ballacameen High School. You may have heard about it, I don't know.
Yeah, go on.
And they gave this presentation, and one of my grandchildren was there, and he said that it was completely unbalanced. There was no debate, no idea that there could be any other view other than theirs, and the idea that the wind turbines might cause visual impact didn't appear to give them any concern whatsoever. They didn't think that any view other than theirs really carried any credence with it. So I am a bit concerned about that. And he also, my grandson's a pretty smart guy, he said that the statistics that they were giving and the graphs that they were giving all pointed heavily one way. The Isle of Man is a perfect place for these things, and that we must have more of them. And anyone with a nodding acquaintance of statistics knows that they can be made to prove almost anything. As you know, it's all about how they are presented.
And what did your grandson think of it all?
Very, very upset. He felt it was so unbalanced. There was no idea that there could be another view. There was only one view, and it was theirs.
It's fair to say, though, is the prevailing wisdom at the moment, the political kind of trajectory is towards renewables, isn't it?
Definitely. I mean, there is plenty of other forms. If you read about them, it's this thing about the misinformation. There are other forms, and I feel that in the last 20 years they could have put solar panels on the roofs of subsidised by the government of every building on the island. And there's no visual impact at all. You don't even know they're there. Whereas these things will be massive. And also the amount of CO2 that is burned up by manufacturing them, transporting them, and erecting them is so big that it'll take them years to pay off that, assuming that they do what they say they're going to do. But the idea, I heard Mr. Peake also say, that it will mean cheaper electricity. Well, I'm sorry to say, if you really believe that, you are living in dreamland.
Well, they say, I've heard this touted around that it's going to be cheaper electricity. What they never say is, by how much? At the moment, we pay 29p per kilowatt hour. They don't say 25, 22, 7, 9. Nobody ever says.
They don't. No, and he also actually mentioned maybe even in some cases free. Now, yeah. Anyway, I was concerned that presentation was to sixth formers, and it was down as a conference. Now, conferences are ones where ideas are bandied about, and there is discussion, and people can have different points of view, and it doesn't sound very much like it was a conference.
Did your grandson say, was there any scope for chatting, questions, anything like that?
Very, very little. He raised an issue about the Isle of Man's beauty and the fact that tourists come over here because we are a really beautiful place. And he was, I'm afraid, treated a little bit as the one who shouldn't have spoken up.
Okay. We appreciate your point. Thanks for calling today.
Okay, thanks very much, Andy.
6 minutes before 1, did you have a relative in the house who went to the sixth form conference? from the Energy and Sustainability Group last week. Regarding people working from home, says Mart, do they all go to a virtual Christmas party? If they're working from home, surely they can't go to an office Christmas party. Andrea says the government needs to put counter services back to pre-COVID hours and train staff on answering phones. Aren't they back to pre-COVID hours? Timble Day can't be at the weekend. As civil servants don't get paid for weekends, says 3. I don't think it's that. You'd have to get paid come what may, wouldn't you? There hasn't been an update on the census or any reports of legal action for outstanding returns. I guess returns haven't been made by every resident, won't have been made by every resident of HMOs or flats, so the exercise has probably been given a costly but incomplete picture for future services planning. We don't really know what that is. Have there been any legal actions for outstanding returns for the census that was a few weeks ago? I'd like to say I'm glad I didn't go to Tynwald yesterday, as I got told I missed nothing, says Anna. I'd hear on the radio a mention of religious churches, and I was pleased to hear that the Baha'i Church, a wonderful religion, was there. A lovely, gentle congregation, no loud shouting and peaceful dancing, says that. Well, and all the churches were there. There was religions, Jewish religion, the Muslim religion, the Buddhists were there, and the Baha'i were there as well. Regarding hospitality and the lack of footfall in town centres, the government and planners should never have allowed offices to be built on industrial estates. Office workers should have remained within walking distance of town centres, bringing life to the high street over lunchtime, says Brian on WhatsApp. Text, email, call, WhatsApp, whatever's on your mind. Then you're on Mannin Line on Manx Radio.
When the Mannin Line's not on air, call Manx Radio to leave your opinion for broadcast on 682 631.
Oh, and by the way, I did mention, didn't I, next Tuesday we're going to be live at the Isle of Man prison. And if you've got any questions that you'd like me to put to anybody, then by all means, email manninline@manxradio.com, manninline@manxradio.com, or you can call the answer phone on 682 631. Tomorrow, Devon Watson is in now. We had to put Devon off last week because he had urgent council business. But the leader of Douglas City Council, Devon Watson, is on Manx Radio tomorrow on Mannin Line. And again, if you want me to put a question to Devon, either call, text, email or WhatsApp tomorrow during the show, or the answer phone, or the out-of-hours email address. He's talked long and hard about a lot more social housing for Douglas City. Let's see how many people work from home when it comes in the winter, says Barry. It's good that the Energy and Sustainability are holding talks to give people proper informed information about the proposed wind farms at Eristane and the north of the island. So we'll see. Right, that's it from Andy. Thanks to Howie on the phones today. Enjoy your Tuesday.
WINT